Electronic pagers and other backup communications devices belonging to Hezbollah terrorists simultaneously explode across Lebanon and other parts of Syria. Israel claimed responsibility for the pager explosions that left thousands of Hezbollah terrorists that were critically wounded or dead, and more backup devices of theirs have since exploded, triggering a threat of response from Hezbollah and sparking questions as to where the war goes from here. And I'm joined by Middle East expert and editor-in-chief at the Foreign Desk, Lisa Daftari. Lisa, it's so great to speak with you, as always. Now, according to officials, when it comes to the pagers, about 2 ounces of explosives were implanted in beepers that Hezbollah ordered that may have been made in Hungary, and they all went off simultaneously. And now these backup communication devices are exploding. This is a new development and appear to be very sophisticated attacks. What's your initial reaction to this operation, and do you think that these operations were effective?
This was an attack that many war experts are incredibly impressed by in terms of the precision, in terms of the intelligence, in terms of how pinpointed it was and how effective it was. This is one of the first times where we see Israel's intelligence showcased on the global stage. This is the first time we're seeing them on the offensive. This was the first time that Israel was like, you know what? We know where you're at, and we're going to meet you there first. And I think, just the complexity and yet the simplicity of this attack to target only Hezbollah operatives, to go after their pagers. I want to also talk about the symbolic attack here. As many of you have been following the Mahsa Amini protests inside Iran, that is the woman, life, freedom. I know you have, Monica, covered it extensively and given it the airtime that it deserves. This is a woman-led movement inside Iran that has been supported by the entire Iranian population, men and women across the country, to protest for their freedom, right? Freedom for women, freedom for men, freedom for students, freedom for everyone across the board. And it started with the death of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini 2 years ago, exactly to this week. The reason why this is so symbolic is that when the protesters came out onto the streets in the aftermath of Mahsa Amini's death, the regime was fixated on gouging people's eyes out, on shooting them in the eyes. So many Iranians have, either patches or, lost an eye, have damage in their eyes because of the regime. As we see a lot of the eye injuries for Hezbollah operatives, because what they did was they sent out an initial page, I forget what you even call it, on the beepers, and then waited. The reaction is to bring the pager up to your face to read it more closely, and that's when the explosives went off. So we're seeing a lot of eye injuries. So again, a very symbolic, karmic, eye for an eye, literally, type of attack.
Yeah, very strategic, very clever, some would say. And now there are other people on the other side of the aisle who are kind of critical of this strategic attack from Israel. They're kind of saying that this is a war crime, this is terrorism. But how is it terrorism to kill terrorists themselves, would you say? How do you kind of navigate that argument?
Let's talk about the propaganda war for a minute. Doesn't matter if you're in Israel or the United States or Canada or Europe, they want to kill you. Why? Because you're not folding under their flag. They even want to kill moderate Muslims. And many moderate Muslims in the Middle East know that. And that's why they stand against terrorism, and the Abraham Accords being a testament to that. But getting back on this messaging, we've come so far that whatever Israel does, there's this knee-jerk reaction to criticize and say, oh, and now they can come after our iPads and our phones, and they can do this and that. I mean, the military war will come to an end, but I don't know how we will rectify the rhetoric and this really upside-down reality that has been created by the propaganda. This is an Islamic Republic talking point. It is a pro-jihad talking point, and so many useful idiots here in the West are repeating them, which is incredibly sad and dangerous. So going forward, I hope that people like you and others in the media, as well as academics and experts, can really have the moral clarity to clarify this.
Very well said. Lisa Daftari, Middle East expert and editor-in-chief at the Foreign Desk. Thank you so much for being here. I always appreciate your analysis, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Monica.